Is it possible to bring your Instagram account back from the dead if all you're getting is crickets? Should you start a new account? Today I'm going to share with you the strategy that I used in the last 90 days to bring my Instagram account back to life. Hey, my name is Chalene Johnson. Thank you so much for joining me today here on Build Your Tribe. A couple of years ago, I made a decision that I was not going to focus or put any pressure on myself to grow my Instagram account. Now, I realize that that is a true luxury. It's a privilege to not have to grow your social media account. For a lot of entrepreneurs, if you don't have social media, you don't have a business. But I was fortunate enough that we had grown our email list. Our email list really supports the business. So I was in a position where I felt like Instagram, I wanted to understand it and learn it, but I didn't need to put the pressure on myself to grow my following. Instead, what I wanted to do was to deepen the relationship I have with my existing followers. I wanted to take the pressure off myself to post to my feed and instead spend a lot more time in my stories. In doing so, it dramatically improved our sales. Getting to know the existing followers I already have, which again was, like more than enough, right? 750,000 followers is fantastic. And so we developed some incredible strategies that allowed us to build that relationship, grow our email list, and in doing so and growing our email list using my Instagram stories, we were able to increase our sales. Now, if that's something you want help with, I want you to click below. You'll see in our show description that I've put a little link there where you can get 55 story ideas for free. All you have to do is click on that link, or you can even go to my Instagram right now and you can send me a DM that says 55 stories, and I will send you some great ideas on how you can use your Instagram stories to grow your email list and to service and really get to know the people who are following you. So it's a way to get more engagement on your stories, but ultimately, you want more engagement because you want more sales, right? Okay. So anyways, that's what I focused on. And it was nice to not have to worry about growing my following at all. And what I was doing was posting whatever I was excited about, whatever I was into, kind of like all over the place. It was, me and my brand, but sometimes I would post about doing in business. Sometimes I was posting about our vacation. Sometimes I was posting about one of my kids' wedding, just random stuff. In other words, it was not niched content. And sometimes that was difficult because as someone who teaches Instagram, that's the cornerstone of growth, is you need to have a niched account. So every time I was teaching an Instagram training, I would have to make this kind of precursor statement and say hey, you need to niche, but don't go look at my content because my content is not niched. And it wasn't. It was all over the place. And that's why my account never grew. In fact, week after week, I was losing more and more followers. Some new people would follow, but there was usually more unfollows than there were new follows. But in January of this year, I decided that I was going to really get serious about my niche. And that meant that if I wanted to help a certain person, if I wanted to attract a certain target audience, I had to create content that was super helpful to them. That meant I needed to do exactly what it was I teach our students to do, and that is create niched content. A very obvious statement to anyone who goes and checks out my profile of what exactly they can expect from me, what type of content I post. So the first thing I did was changed my bio. My bio now reads over 50 health and fitness expert. Remember that the name field of your Instagram is one of the only areas that is search engine optimized. So if somebody is to go to Instagram and just type in over 50 health or over 50 fitness, I'm probably going to pop up. Let's hope that I do. Next, I decided to focus on content that specifically delivered on the promise of my bio. Then came the hard part. And the hard part was disciplining myself to create only content for my feed that related to health and fitness, nutrition, those kinds of things related to perimenopausal and menopausal women. Now, that was difficult for me because I also like to talk about ADHD, and I also like to talk about business, and I also like to talk about growing your email list, and I also like to talk about travel. But I knew if I'm really trying to help women who are in this phase of their life, they don't care about all those things. So I had to niche my content. So that meant really thinking to myself, okay, what is something I can create today that's going to be valuable, that's going to be share worthy? And I started becoming very intentional about that content. The next thing I did was replaced each of my cover shots. So, when you post up a reel, you can select the cover art. What is it that people see when they look at your profile? And if it's just a screenshot from the video, a new person doesn't know what that content is about. You're asking someone to do when they go to your profile page and they just see like all these videos, even if all those videos are related to one niche, people still don't know that unless they watch each and every video. So what I wanted to do was replace each one of those cover shots with a thumbnail that told them exactly what that content was about, so that a woman who's just glancing at my page would know like, oh, this is the type of content she produces. Every one of the thumbnails, at a glance, a woman who is perimenopausal or menopausal glances and goes like, all of this content is going to serve me, and therefore I'm much more likely to get a follow, and that's exactly what happened. So I'm going to share with you some of my results. First of all, my non-follower engagement went up 171%. My follower engagement went up 28%. That's huge. My impressions over that 90-day period went up to 24 million, an increase of over 40%. And in less than 3 months' time, I had 49,000 follows, new follows. Unfortunately, at the same time, I had 26,000 unfollows. So that's what happens every single time you post, every time your profile pops up, people make a decision. Do I need to follow this person? Yes or no. The more you post, the more new followers you're going to get. You're always getting unfollows. All of us are always getting unfollows, even when you're not posting. And here's why. Because everybody on the planet wants to follow fewer people. So from time to time, we all do this. You go through who you're following and you're like, if I haven't seen any of their content, if I'm not interested in what it is they do anymore, you unfollow. If you're like, I have no idea who this person is, you unfollow. Also, some of those accounts could have been bots or old accounts. And so Instagram's constantly cleaning things out too. So you're always getting unfollows, which means if you want to increase the number of follows you get, you've got to post more often, because the only way you're going to get a new follow is if your content is showing up in front of people. So I increased my posting rate to 1.5 times per day. My goal was to do 3. Yeah, I didn't hit 3, but we're up to at least 1.5 times per day, and that to my feed, and that's great. And as you can see, it's resulted in a lot more new followers, and more importantly, they're targeted followers. My engagement has really skyrocketed, and that's a good sign. That's how I know that the content that I'm producing is what the woman who I'm trying to reach is looking for. I mean, look at how many comments are on some of these reels. Engagement from non-followers increased 200%. That's huge. And an over 80% increase in engagement from my existing followers. We've literally brought my account back to life, and did so by niching down. Something that does take a little bit more work. It does take a lot more thought. It does take more discipline. It does take being very intentional and thinking to yourself like, okay, what is something that they really are going to need and want and share, or something that's really going to entertain them? It's the kind of content that when they're looking at your whole page overall and they're looking at your bio, does your picture, your bio, and your content, does it all match the same promise? But here's why this is so important. Sales. During that 90-day period, profile visits went up 80%. But are you ready for this? This is crazy. External link taps, in other words, people who clicked on the link in my bio, went up 167%. Which bottom line tells you this: it's worth the effort to niche down. Now, if the struggle is figuring out how to niche down, I highly recommend that you check out the episode that we did on niching down. It's one of the ways that I think you can walk through the process and figure out what it is you need to choose as your niche. Because as they say, the riches are in the niches. If you enjoyed this episode, I want you to check out this one and this one if you're over 40. I think you'll love everything you can learn about branding, especially how to make over your Instagram account. We're now going to 1 episode per week. That way we can give you the absolute best content. We know that you're very busy. We know that you've got a lot to consume. So if you have any questions or suggestions on what you would like to see next on Build Your Tribe, be sure to leave those for us below in the comments. Thanks for liking this video. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. It's my goal to be brief, to be bright, to make it fun, and then be done. We're done. Thanks for being here. Bye.